And we're back. Welcome back to the RPG Valkyrie Speedrun Ragnarok 2021. I am knewster, and it is my pleasure to present Vani Van, who is about to beat Neutopia, the only game in existence that was not inspired by Neutopia. Vani, please tell us, what will you be doing today?
So I'll be running Neutopia for the TurboGrafx 16. It's a cool little top-down kind of action-adventure RPG. I'll be doing the 100% category, and I'll be sure to explain what that is all about as we go along. So don't worry. But with that, I think we're just about ready to go. So I will go ahead and count down.
Chat's ready. We're hyped. Yep. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so here is your lore. It's in the middle of the night in the land of Neutopia, and the evil wizard Dearth has beamed himself down to go into the temple and abscond himself with the Princess Aurora. Doing this summons our hero. Everyone, say hello to Jazeta.
Hello.
Jazeta is best boy, and right now he's getting a lecture from the Temple Mother, who is telling him that Dearth is in his evil lair on the North Pole, and the only way that we can get there is to collect the 8 medallions of wisdom from wise men of years past, affix them here in the temple, and the portal will be opened to the North Pole. We will confront Dearth face to face and hopefully be victorious. So what I'm doing right here is, I'm doing this because I have to for 100%, but for a marathon, I'm going to do it as well. What I'm doing is I'm picking up, if I'm picking it up, there we go. This is the Book of Revival. What this will do is allow me to get passwords at various points throughout the game. Now, am I going to be writing down any of these immense passwords, especially the ones that are in Japanese? No. But I'll actually demonstrate what the Book of Revival is about, probably about 2/3 of the way or so through this run. So what we're doing is we're making a pit stop in here and picking up some bombs as well as a vial of medicine. The bombs are going to help me break open walls and assault certain bosses, and then the medicine is going to completely refill my vitality on demand. It can only be used once though, but I'll be getting one or two more throughout the run, so we'll be fine there. So the way that the overworld in this game works is that it's split up into 4 distinct areas called spheres, and they're and they're done in a linear order. Right now we're in the land sphere. After we get through this, we'll be in the subterranean sphere. Third is going to be the SEA sphere. And then the final one is going to be the sky sphere. Now, in each sphere, there are going to be 2 crypts that we'll need to go through. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that is all about. But before we do, we need to talk to this little caveman here, because he's going to give us arguably the most important item in the game. This is the Fire Wand. Fire Wand has a couple of purposes. Its main purpose is to be used as an assault weapon to attack enemies from a distance. This is good because we don't want enemies to touch me, and if you are familiar with me at all, you know that rule number 1 is don't touch me. But the other thing it will do is will allow us to burn down certain objects that will either clear a path, reveal a stairway, stuff like that.
Speaking of Fire Wands, I'd like to mention that Bahamut X donated $50. Bahamut X was also restreaming, so both volunteering and donating, and says this donation goes towards no Fire Wand. What? That's not an incentive? Oh well, I wish you luck on your run, Bonnie. The donation will go to Runner's Choice then.
Awesome, thank you very much, Baha. Yeah, so also, this particular run, so this is if you're not familiar with me, this is my main speed game. I have, world records in all the categories, all that good stuff. Oh, jeez. So this is what I do, and I have done this, I don't know how many times I have run this game for Valk's marathons. It's a lot, so it's kind of a tradition almost. But one time I did a donation incentive to complete the game where I did not collect the Fire Wand, and it is possible, but it's also dreadfully difficult. And I found myself just kind of instinctively saying, as I encountered, many of the hardships that I experienced in that run, boy, this would be so much easier if I had the Fire Wand. Well, as it is with this crowd, that instantly became a meme, and so Baha is hitting me with it. But I will allow it because he did it in donation comment
Right,
form.
exactly.
If you want to try to needle me with this in chat, I'm not going to be so receptive to that. But if it's attached to a donation comment, it is completely fair game.
We also have a pair of donations from Japan. Yuda donated $1 and says, "Thanks for a good time from Japan. You are welcome. Enjoy the stream." And Kuroko Hakamori says, "From Japan Restream, thank you for a great event." Well, thank you. I'm glad you like it.
Very nice. So speaking of Japan, you'll notice that this game is in Japanese, and as is very often the case with games where you have scrolling text in text boxes, the Japanese version is going to be much, much quicker. As far as differences between the Japanese and North American versions, aside from the language, nothing. So both versions of the game play exactly the same, which is nice. There's not like separate categories for them on the SRC boards. So yeah, there's no need. Anyway, so I was going to talk about the crypts. So in each sphere, there are going to be 2 crypts that will do. Now, one of the crypts in each sphere is going to be notably more difficult than the other one, and it is meant to be done second. But because this is a speed run and we've got stuff to do, we're always going to do the more difficult crypt first. Reason being is that the items either in or on our way to that more difficult crypt are extremely useful, and we want to get them ASAP so that we can maximize their use. Ooh, good. We need to do a bit of farming in this game. The bombs are something that we are going to want plenty of, especially on the front end of this run, because they are rather useful, not only for getting through these crypts, but also for certain boss fights. So you love to see it, as they say. So what I picked up in that treasure room a few rooms ago was a key. Every single crypt has a key that is unique to it, one key that you need to collect. You need that key in order to open the door to the boss's room. So collecting the key in each crypt is required. So this is our first sword upgrade. Oh, this is a good opportunity to talk about what comprises the 100% category. So in 100%, we are going to collect all of the individual upgrades for our armor, our sword, and our shield. We're going to collect all of the permanent items. We're going to collect all 3 of the bomb capacity upgrades, and we're going to collect 3 life capacity upgrades, although there are 4. The reason why we don't collect all 4 is that at the end of every crypt, you are given a free segment of life. It's just, it just kind of comes with it, I guess. But there are 3 individual ones that we get. Well, once you clear all 8 stages, if you were to get the 4th life upgrade, there's a maximum to your maximum, I think is the best way of putting it. So it doesn't really, do anything. So for the sake of satisfying the category, we just leave it out. Oh no. Okay, so this is going to take an extra cycle, or 2 maybe? Please don't die. That'd be bad. Okay. Alright, so this is the Golem. He's the first boss we encounter. Normally this can be done in 2 cycles, but I kind of biffed my timing a little bit. And so we did it in 3, so we wasted a few seconds. But that's okay. Alright, so we've gotten the first medallion. Every time you get a medallion, you are going to get teleported back to the temple, get an extra segment of life and a refill there, and then we get sent back out into the world. Eventually, as we collect the pairs of the medallions, there's going to be staircases that will appear there in the temple, and that's how we get to the further spheres in the game. So, I tell you what, I'm just walking to Crypt 1. There's not a whole lot going on here, so knewster, if you have any donations, blurbs, or anything like that, this is a good time.
Absolutely. Speedrun Ragnarok is working to work with Take This. Take This is a mental health charity that seeks to decrease stigma and increase support for mental health amongst game makers and players. We have already progressed towards almost $12,000, which should be good enough for an AFK room at a convention or marathon, which is amazing. We also have a number of incentives coming up, which you can just get into first position right now. Chicory a colorful tale. For the naming incentive, no one has bid on it yet. You can pick any name you want. Put in $1 and you'll probably win. Go for it. Do it now. Chicory.
Very cool. All right, so here we are in crypt number 1. We did crypt number 2 first. What's going to be coming up here, these next 2 rooms, I refer to as the Belfry. This is kind of a shout out to a speedrunner called Lack Attack, who is the world record holder in the Legend of Zelda. These rooms are notorious because the movement patterns of the bats is random, and it's typically unfavorable. So there's a lot of RNG that can either save or waste time in here. Generally speaking, this Belfry was decent. Like in my runs, I have a split just for these 2 rooms because there can be a lot of RNG variants in here that can really mess with things. So, but yeah, that was bad. So we got our key. We're going to get our first armor upgrade in just a second here. Oh, shoot. Oh, good. Okay. Good.
Yeah. We also have upcoming incentives for Pokemon Sword, where you can name the main Pokemon for the run. The Legend of Mana Remaster, where you can name the protagonist and choose the gender. And choose to save Dana and take her to fight that persnickety Irwin. Final Fantasy VI Beyond Chaos, you can choose the sprite of the characters from Only Girls, Only Anime, Only Pets. You can force the runner to play without Super Balls. And last but not least, you can enjoy the final run with a little bit of dramatic opera singing and voice acting. I think, was that incentive already met? I think it may have been. Yeah, I apologize. The voice acting incentive and the Save Diana and Take Her to Fight Irwin incentive are already complete, as well as no Super Balls.
Perfect. Okay, good. There you see the power of using bombs on bosses and how we can waste them rather quickly. Bombs aren't effective on every single boss, but they are on some, and the ones that they are, it is very key to use them there because it saves a whole lot of time. All right, so we have both medallions for the land sphere, which means we can now enter the subterranean sphere. And you can tell it's subterranean because of all of the lava. Look at all this glorious lava to my right. So another thing to mention is that with each different sphere, there's going to be different sets of enemies that make the game progressively more difficult and challenging to get through. Oh, I will actually take that. Thank you. One item that I picked up in the crypt before, didn't make mention of it because I didn't want to interrupt you there, but it was an item called the Magic Ring. I will explain a little bit more about the Magic Ring when I get to use it, but the fact that I already have one is awesome. What I'm picking up here is an item called the Moonbeam Moss. This is it's a permanent item. It has infinite uses, infinite charges, I guess you could say. And what it will do is it will light up dark rooms so that I can see where I'm going. But because this is a speed run and because I know what I'm doing, you will see me very seldom use it. And I will admit, it does kind of add to the entertainment factor of the run to see the runner, navigate through dark rooms in a deft fashion. So the reason I collected it, because 100% we have to collect all the permanent items. I only plan to use it in one specific area. So yeah, the rest of it we're gonna do in the dark because hell yeah. Anyway. So, trying to think what else I still need to talk about here. I don't know. Oh, static enemy movement. There are certain enemies like these guys here who always move left that we can use to our advantage. Now, like these blue rock-throwing demons who are big jerks, they do not have static enemy movement, at least not initially. So we have to be very mindful of them. But what we're picking up here, especially for the setting that we're in, is arguably the best item in the game. It is the Rainbow Drop! Big shout-outs to my dear friend Scala Kitty, who is a Neutopia super fan, and even more specifically, a huge fan of that particular item. So yes, we have the rainbow drop. What it does is it allows us to cross little gaps that are one tile wide, so that we can continue on, like at the beginning of this next crypt that we're about to get into. So you saw me walk right into that blue demon there. I was hoping he wouldn't move in, but because his initial movement pattern is not static, I was just basically taking a gamble, and unfortunately I lost. All I lost was half a segment of life, so not a big deal. Oh, one thing we can talk about that I haven't mentioned is kind of the mechanics of the fire one. Now, the fire one's pretty cool because it has a very unique mechanic in that its output and its damage and all that stuff is directly tied to your current life total. Now, you might have noticed that in the beginning of this sphere, when I was using the fire wand, you saw kind of these like slow rolling columns of fire. The reason why that was happening was because I had at least 8 full segments of life, like I do now. So instead of shooting out those little fireballs, I'm shooting out these columns that I was just referencing instead. The columns are more powerful, but they're not as easy to control. So there are definitely pros and cons. However, we're going to get to a level of fire that is going to be superior to everything, and we will want to take full advantage of it. So what makes this an interesting speedrun, in my opinion, is you have to do some pretty precise routing with your life totals. So you noticed I picked up a second potion on the way, or second vial of medicine on my way in here. I'm doing that for marathon safety, just in case my life total gets dire and I want to have better fire. So it's always nice to have that, especially in a setting like this. So yeah. All right. So coming up here is one of my least favorite rooms in the entire game. We just call it the ghost room. So we've got these ghost enemies here. What makes these things especially awful is, well, several things. First of all, they can just randomly disappear on you. Second of all, they are not affected at all by your fire wand. So in order to damage them, you have to get up close and personal with the sword. Now, what makes them really bad is if you grab that hourglass item, which freezes time for about 15 to 20 seconds. If you grab that while a ghost is in its disappeared, in its invisible phase, it will stay that way until the hourglass wears off. So if you grab one by accident, it can really, I mean, especially if you're trying to go for a PV, it's basically a run killer. So, yeah.
Who wouldn't want that? I got a message of support for you from T. Murdoch, who donated $20 and says, the legendary swordsman Murdoch blesses this Neutopia run by my descendant Jezeda. May the Krakens be nice to you.
Very good. Thank you very much, Murdoch. Kraken is not in this game; it's in the sequel, but I understand what he's referencing. So, alrighty. So yeah, so you see these dark rooms here where you literally, the only thing in the room you can see are the enemies and yourself. So, but if you know where you're going, then you can just walk through them without having to waste time menuing and doing all that goofy stuff. And that's what we do. All right. So, boss time here. Oh, shoot. All right. So there we go. So that boss is done. So that boss we affectionately refer to as Stunlock Earwig. The reason being is that how that boss works is that it just follows you around the room, and it's got a bunch of segments, and the only segment that takes actual damage is its tail. But all of its segments will take the knockback from your sword. So essentially what you can do is you can walk into that room in a precise position, walk straight up, bounce all of its segments against the wall, including the tail, and continue to do damage to it, and it really can't retaliate unless your timing is bad, which it was for me. I got hit once, but, you know, whatever. Not a big deal. Anyway, so that's Stunlock Earwig. Alright, so what we're picking up here this is a bomb capacity upgrade. Before I walked in here, my capacity was 8. It's now going to be 12. I will collect 2 more upgrades for a grand total of 20 bombs that I can carry. So, and that's good because later on in the game we're going to need quite a few bombs. So, you know, having the extra, like in the any percent run, we collect a bomb upgrade. It's that important, even for any percent. So, so yeah. So that's good. Let's see here. You have time for
Absolutely.
missions if you have them.
Sounds great. Yeah, we are supporting Take This. Take This. It provides education on mental illness so that friends, family, members, and coworkers can be better allies to those who are suffering. This has been a very rough year for a lot of people, myself included. I know I've struggled with depression. I think many people have. If you are financially able, I'd urge you to consider donating to a wonderful cause. We've raised almost $11,000 now, and we're still going, which I find wonderful. And I'm constantly encouraged by your generosity and your willingness to give. If you are not able to give, that's okay. Just by being in the stream, telling people about the marathon, chatting, being awesome, you're doing your part. So thank you all very much for being here. You're welcome.
Indeed. I echo all of them, all those sentiments. All right, so this room is terrifying. What you can't see is there's a hole in the middle of in the floor where those things will just continue to pop out infinitely and can just be really bad. Wow, that's the 3rd ring that has been dropped. Unfortunately, you can only hold 1 ring at a time, and it's a single-use item. So the fact that I got one in the first crypt that we went into is great because it eases my mind. I don't have to worry about it anymore. But when I see all these other ones pop up that do me no good, it's a slightly sad. So, yeah. Yo, chat, I see you. I just want you to know that, and you all are fantastic. But one thing that I did kind of see in chat that if all of you may not be privy to it is this game has memes. The community as it is basically, so the community for Neutopia is like me, 2 other runners, and like everybody that watches me run it. So y'all are fantastic. Let me fight this boss and then we'll talk memes.
Let's do that. I've heard this game has been very inspiring.
Yeah, don't spoil it.
Okay.
That's my shtick, buddy.
Okay, I won't touch it.
You're good. Anyway, so yes, so I will give you all just a sliver of self-awareness here. This is a game on the TurboGrafx 16. Very few people have heard of it outside of, you know, people who enjoy my streams and speedruns and stuff. And yes, it does bear an extremely heavy resemblance to Zelda. All of that being said, this game is extremely inspirational, and not only have other video games been inspired by this, aspects of other media have been inspired by this. In fact, it goes beyond media, and sometimes it goes into real-world applications. So yes, things are things get very inspirational around here, and I had a great time running this game at Limit Break 2 years ago, and I had the aforementioned Skalakitty, RPG Valkyrie Natara, and the legendary Nitsky 1 on my couch for that run, and we memed it up hard, and it was a fantastic time. So, yes, indeed. So yeah, if you see people in here talking about inspiration, they're in on the joke, and I am inviting all of you in on the joke as well with that. So yes. So yeah. So what I picked up there is I got another bomb upgrade. I got another life upgrade, and what I'm going to get right now is a very, very useful item. That is... it's actually required even if you're playing the game casually, so... but for the speedrun, for any percent well, I mean, you have to pick it up, but even if we... even if it wasn't required, we would do it anyway. These are the Falcon shoes. These are going to double my movement speed. And that's going to be extremely useful, just generally speaking, but especially for this next crypt coming up, which, in my opinion, is the most difficult crypt in the speedrun. So having extra movement speed for dodging all kinds of stuff is rather welcome. So, yeah. Now, in this next crypt is where you are going to see the use of the magic rings. I will use one in this crypt, and then I want to get another one as soon as possible after that. And we have a certain special enemy that can help us out there. And because I'll need to use a second one later on in the crypt. All right, so here we go, into Crypt 6. This introduces these really, really rude enemies. These kind of wizard-looking guys who can just make things extremely difficult. The reason I play this game in Japanese is because the text scroll is way, way faster. So, other than the language, there is no difference between the Japan and North America versions. So, so that's why we do Japanese. As far as any lore or whatnot, you all just listen to Uncle Vonnie. He'll tell you exactly everything you need to know about what's going on in this game, who's doing what, how everything works. Yeah, I got you. So we have our key. These enemies here, you saw me fight a couple of them. I have to fight them again because I have to push a block. These kind of like zombie armadillo, whatever the hell these things are. These are another enemy that are impervious to your fire wand. You have to damage them with your sword. The game does have a story, yes. I dropped the lore in the beginning. Oh my god. Alright, so we're going to blow this wall open, and then we're going to select our ring. We're not going to use it in this next room. We'll use it in the one after, and you'll see what it does. All these big scary wizards, except now they're these little slugs, but we want certain special types of slugs. We want slugs that drop rings. Hell yes. So we got a slug that dropped a ring. That is a special type of slug that we refer to as a slug homie.
This fight has turned into a slugfest.
Yeah, very good. Very, very good. Slug homies are the best. We will want one more later on in here because there's a ring that we will need to use in Crypt 8. But we want to get that. We want to get that ring as soon as possible because just the sooner you do it, the more you can just put your mind at ease and just, do what you need to do. All right. So I would like to have the next level of fire here with the rolling columns. I unfortunately have fallen just below the threshold for that, so this might slow things down a little bit, but not a big deal. Like for this particular room, having the rolling columns makes fighting this much easier, because as you can see, when these things move from, when they move laterally, they kind of bounce up and down. Well, if you're in the wrong position, they'll bounce right over your fireballs. They don't have, see, just like that. You saw it bounce right over it. They're not so lucky when you have the rolling columns. It will catch them every time, and it does more damage to them. You have to hit them one less time. Oh my god. All these extra rings. The game is being unnecessarily generous right now. Alright, so there go... Oh, those enemies we refer to as kitty ghosts. That's another Scala jam. Z named those. Alright, we want to put the ring on again because more scary wizards. And also, you saw there in the flashing, there was a bunch of bricks in the middle of the room. So basically that kind of cuts this room. It cuts like about, I don't know, 60% of the movable area in this room out, and you have to essentially go toe-to-toe with those wizards, which is really very much not at all a good thing. So we use the ring to basically nullify the threat in this room. So right now I have the final armor of the game. This is the strongest protection that I can get, which is good because I'm gonna need it. Because we do some damage boosting here, especially on the boss. We do a lot of damage boosting on the boss, so having it for that is really good. Oh boy. That was close.
May I ask, how does damage boosting work in this game?
Damage boosting is you always get, when you get hit, you always get knocked back in the direction that you are facing. Opposite direction of what you're facing. I actually I should have mentioned it. I used it in the room where I picked up the second armor upgrade. All right, we're gonna turn on the potion because we know we're gonna need it. All right, this is by far the most difficult boss to fight in the game, so I'm gonna kind of focus here. Come on. Oh, no. Okay. All right, we'll do this kind of the long way. There we go. Okay, good. So that boss we refer to affectionately as Poverty Trinex. The way that it works is that when you... oh my god. When you dislodge its heads from the body... they kind of float around for a little bit and then eventually will try to return to the body. Well, the strategy is to try and get in between the body and the heads as they're returning, so that way you can continue to do damage to them, and all they'll do is just continue to fly back, and you basically just get all kinds of free hits. All right, so now we have at least 12 full segments of life, and what this means is that we have the highest level of damage from the fire wand. This is a phenomenon we like to refer to as the good fire. The good fire is extremely powerful because it moves fast, it does a bunch of damage, and it rips through things. It doesn't stop on contact like all of the other levels of fire do. So you can kind of just, like as I am, just kind of throw fire all over the place and just wipe things out pretty easily. However, my situation is a very precarious one in that if I take damage of any sort at all whatsoever in my current state, I will lose the good fire, and we do not want that. Okay.
So this game is basically just arson simulator. I love it.
Yes. So we picked up another shield upgrade. This is absolutely something I skip in any percent. Oh my god. Absolutely something I skip in any percent because that shield is an absolute pain in the butt to get, and this detour is pretty lengthy, so we avoid it because the benefit that you get from the shield just is not worth it. Oh, okay, I took a hit, so I lost the good fire. Not a huge deal. Again, especially because it's a marathon run and not a PB attempt. So yeah. But that's okay. So where I'm heading to now is... Oh, shit. I might as well just Leroy Jenkins my way through this, at least part of it. Where I'm heading now into this area here. I'm going to blow open this door momentarily. Ooh, okay, good. And, okay, so this would appear to be a crypt, both in how it looks, how it sounds, the music, the enemies that are in here, but it's not really. I refer to this as a micro crypt. Basically, I'm going to go through this hallway, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to talk to this old dude chained to the wall, I'm going to push a block to get out of here, and then that's that. The reason why we're doing this is that the entrance to crypt number 5, which is the one that actually has a medallion and is, you know, formatted like all the others, the entrance to will not appear until you talk to this guy. So that's Crypt 5 is the only crypt that has this sort of thing to it. I don't know why. It's pretty random, but it's just the way it is. So so that's what we got to do. So yeah. All right.
Wonderful. You can really see the differences between this and Legend of Zelda. In Legend of Zelda, you have like moblins and armoses, and here they're fish people.
Yes. Yes. Very distinct. Very clever distinction. Oh my god, go away. I might actually want to kill a couple of these guys, just in case there's a ring on the other end. Yes, there it is. Excellent. Ooh, we might be dropping a frame or two. If that is the case, I apologize.
It's okay. It's okay. We are dropping a frame or two, but as long... Yep, and we're back. No problem.
way again. A lot of stuff in the dark here. We know where we're going. We know what we're doing. Trust Uncle Bonnie.
I trust you. I'll just mention that this marathon is set to benefit Take This. Take This's website has freely available stories of hope for people who are managing their mental health, as well as articles on mental health issues in the gaming culture. And we have a whole list of resources that you can check out if you feel like you need help. I know through periods of my time, I've struggled with mental health issues, and for a long period of my time, particularly if you're in places like the USA that don't have easy access to free counseling and clinics and things like that, it can be a struggle. So please take advantage of the resources that are available. There's a lot of them out there.
Indeed. All right, so we have picked up our second sword upgrade. Just for the record, this is something that I would skip in an any percent run. It's not terribly important to get the benefit from it isn't worth the time that it takes to get it. So we got to kill everything in here and push a block and get a key, and then it's off to the boss.
And yes, Chad is correct. Neutopia is the first game to drop frames. Everything else is inspired by it.
Yes. Yes. The dropping of frames was actually inspired by my stream setup. That's one thing that is not inspired by Neutopia. Hello? Did I push the wrong block? I did. I'm a doofus. Okay. We're gonna reset the room then. All right. So that's an example of the Moonbeam Moss. I just pushed the block the wrong way and shut myself out. So now you see things lit up in here. I actually want to ask chat for a favor. Chat, could we please, if it wouldn't be too much trouble, could we please put in some donations for my friend Knewster here to read? I feel like this has been kind of lacking in his life lately, and I would like for him to read some donation comments. Hit me with your, I don't know, hit me with your memes, your puns, your personal testimonials of how you were inspired by Neutopia, whatever it is.
The wonderful thing is there's no minimum donation, well, apart from a penny. You know, if you aren't in a position where you can donate $100 or a large amount of money, put in $1. You know, put in what you can afford.
Oh, yes. Okay, so that crab boss can either move left or right when it gets to the top. If it moves to the left, it is much easier to kill it in one cycle. But it's just random as to which way it goes. It decided to move to the right, which means that your movement and your bomb placement have to be very, very precise. And I am proud of myself for pulling that off. So, yeah, I'm gonna pat myself on the back. Heck yes. All right.
Making a patting motion even though you can't see it.
Very good. Alrighty, so here we are now in the Sky Sphere. By the way, I can't believe we've gotten, what are we, about 37 minutes in this run, before I mentioned that this game is absolutely rife with bops. The soundtrack in this game is outstanding. Whoops, that's what I wanted. I did not mean to drop a bomb there.
I've never understood the importance of these spheres. I always thought they were pointless.
Oh, goodness. Alright, so what I did there was I picked up the third and final bomb upgrade. I went ahead and just got it out of the way now, because now even with 19 bombs, I should have 20. This is going to give me plenty of bombs that I will need for the rest of the run. I won't need to worry about farming, restocking, so on and so forth. So yeah. Alright, so in the Sky Sphere, we're going to... Oh, here is where I will make use of that Book of Revival that I got in the very beginning. So, yeah, in fact, you know what? Because of that, I'm just going to go ahead and boost through, like, all of this. Why not? Whoops. Whatever. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. Get out of my way. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to this here. I'm gonna go ahead and use it here because we're about to get. This is a double potion. You can see because it's purple as opposed to green. This is going to give you 2 charges of the medicine use straight away as opposed to just 1. So, oh my god, why did I overmenu there? So yeah. So now that we have the good fire, if I can, I want to try to keep it because it is extremely useful for this next crypt that is coming up, which is Crypt 8. It's meant to be essentially the final crypt of the game, though it won't be the final one that we do in the run. Pump into here.
Yeah, I didn't expect your life segments to be so important. I didn't know this was a segmented speedrun.
Oh my good, and you don't even have to donate to do this. They give you a microphone and everything.
Sorry.
Well, hey, you've earned the privilege. You volunteered, and you know, shout outs to all of our volunteers for this marathon. Y'all make this what it is, and we appreciate that. Okay, so here we go into Crypt 8. Crypt 8 is going to have some interesting challenges, but we also have a really cool item that we're going to get that is going to make a lot of these challenges absolutely trivial. Okay, good. That thing died quickly, which is really, really what we want to see. This room can go a bit haywire if he doesn't. Perfect. Okay, you die in the fire. You die in the fire. Thank you. Okay. Oh yeah, good fire just makes absolute... I just lay waste in here with this good fire. Those mummies have a lot of HP, but the good fire cares not for your HP. It just chews through it at an alarming rate, and this is a good thing from our point of view. Alright, kill this guy, please. Just thank you. Okay, good.
I'm not 100% convinced that your character isn't some sort of, like, supervillain, to be entirely honest.
Say again?
So I'm not 100% convinced that your character isn't some sort of supervillain, maniacally lighting everything they encounter on fire.
Well, they had it coming. So the item that I just picked up here is called the Bell of the Sky, and we're going to put it to immediate use because this thing is absurdly useful. What this does is, if you are ever in a room where there is a door that's shut because you need to kill all the enemies in the room, or you need to push a block in the room, or perhaps even both, you just ring the bell and it overrides all of that and it throws the doors open. This is going to make a bit of a mockery of the rest of this game, to be honest. But it is also a required item even for a casual playthrough, and I will show you why in just a couple of minutes. Yes.
We did get a donation come in a minute ago from Karasalache or Karasalash. I apologize if I'm not saying the name correctly. And he has a Neutopia first fact, or they have a Neutopia first fact, I'm sorry. Neutopia was the first game to have a hero wear pants. Link didn't wear pants at first. Clearly, Nintendo was inspired by Neutopia to wear pants. I think they have a point. I think Neutopia is probably the inspiration for all games, apart from when you're in Germany, and then that game is Neutopia.
Gotcha. So, speaking of fun facts and pants, did you know that for the longest time, Donald Duck cartoons were banned in the country of Finland because they objected to him not wearing pants?
I did not know that. That's fascinating. I love that.
Also, those who are a regular of my stream know that I am like a Donald Duck stan. He is by far my favorite Disney character. I feel like I relate to him in a lot of ways. So yeah, so that fact is kind of heartwarming for me too.
Would you like me to continue this in character then, or what would work for you? I can't do the voice. I have to try. Try with the microphone off.
You can. All right, so this is our last instance of using the ring. We've got 6 big scary enemies that have a lot of HP, but now instead we kind of have just these like pathetic blobby dudes that are much easier to kill. I want to call serious time now because I've got a quick kill that I need to concentrate on. I'll explain why I use that potion in just a second. Beautiful. Okay. That boss is an enormous pain in the butt to deal with casually. So what we did was a very precise setup with a quick kill that requires the good fire, which with the damage that I had taken, even with being only visually 1 segment short, I didn't have the good fire. So you use the potion even if, like, that's how important the life routing is that game. I use it to refill, like, 1 of my 14 segments of life, or I guess it would have been only 13 at that point. Because without the good fire, that quick kill is not possible. So, but the boss that was in there, that guy in the metal armor, that was Dearth, but more specifically, that was just Dearth's illusion. We will fight Dearth in the flesh in just a few minutes. Because we just have 1 more crypt to go to, but we have a couple things that we need to collect on our way there. Part of it to satisfy the 100% category, part of it is a required item to beat the game, so we'll go ahead and do that on the way. Ah, yeah. Under 15. Oh, goodness. I see the word
flow through you.
The word play is alive and well in chat and in the hosting booth too, apparently.
Sorry. They didn't warn. I guess they didn't warn you about me. I apologize.
All right, so this is going to be the 3rd and final, like, manual life upgrade that we were required to get to satisfy the 100% category. The 4th one is, like, deep into Crypt 7, and it's an enormous detour to get it, so that's why we skipped that one. The 3 that we actually get are ones that are basically, like, right on the way. The first one is a bit of a detour, but it's important to get that one early. So, okay. So we made the Bell of the Sky, made use of the Bell of the Sky to make that staircase appear so we could come up here and get the strongest sword. Alright, so that's our final sword upgrade. This weapon is the only weapon that will do damage to the final boss. So it is required to get this, and in order to get it, you need the bell, so the bell is required as well.
We just got a donation from the Green Gamer, with the comment, "Why does Sweden put barcodes on their military vessels? So they can scan the Navy in." I love it. The only thing that could sweeten the deal would be even more donations.
They can scan the Navy in. Holy crap, that is a spicy meatball. Oh wow, okay. I like it. Somebody top it, please.
We can't say anything bad about that pun because it was inspired by Neutopia.
Indeed, yes, absolutely. We're almost to Crypt 7 here. We will be making heavy use of the bell throughout this because we can, and we should. This room can be a bit trolly depending on how this ghost moves. Okay, good. It moved away. That's what we want. Ooh, don't touch me. Okay, good. Thank you for no touching me. Alright, so this next room coming up is, I referenced this earlier, this is the one where I will deliberately use the Moonbeam Moss. And I'll explain why, or it might be evident why I'm doing this in just a second. Let me just kill you with the fire. So I have to push this block, then that block in those directions. Doing that in the dark is nerve-wracking. And if you screw it up, which is rather easy to do, your only recourse is to leave the room and come back to reset all the blocks in their positions so that you can do it. Needless to say that when you're on pace and you have to do that, it's heartbreaking. So the fact that we have it for 100%, oh goodness, is good. Alrighty, we have to do a little song here. Shoutouts to the Scholar Bridge.
That room puts you between a block and a hard place.
Oh wow! Oh my goodness, this is we're doing this. All right. So we are going to make our final detour here to pick up the last item that we need to satisfy 100%, and that is the strongest shield. This thing is magnificent. Look at it. It's pretty awesome, huh? Unfortunately, for what we're doing, it's basically useless because the projectiles that this thing blocks, I don't think we see any more of them for the rest of the run. So we really don't put it to any particular use, beyond what we were already doing with the shields we had. So that skeleton that I just killed there, by the way, that is another example of an enemy that is only affected by your sword. Your fire wand does nothing to it. Alrighty. 3 rooms in a row where we just slam the door open with the bell. And, oh, good. Alright. This boss, don't blink. This boss goes very fast. We're just going to come down here, boost, 1, 2, 3, and we're done. The strongest sword is on display. Because this is the crypt you're supposed to do first and then go get the bell and then get the sword, you're not, I guess, intended to have the strongest sword for that crypt. So yeah, but because we do have it, we waste that boss rather quickly. All right, so now that we have all 8 medallions in place, the door opens. It was right here all along, and we take this on up to the North Pole. We confront Dearth face to face. I'm going to go quiet for a couple reasons. First of all, I want to concentrate on here. The attacks are very well timed. Also, an absolute scorcher of a soundtrack here. All right, that's it. So that was the Dearth fight. Now, what makes that fight so easy is that if you don't move left or right at all, he always will appear above and below you, alternatively. So 32 hits is all we needed to do, and that's what we did. So we are good. Time is coming up soon. There's going to be a cutscene where we will go back to the temple. Some words will be said, and then when that screen fades to black, that's the end of the run. So I will be sure to call it out in plenty of time, but get ready. It's just in a few seconds. People are going to say things. Talkie. And time.
Wonderful. That was 53-24. Super impressive performance as always. Congratulations.
Good. Cool. Thank you.
GG.
Yeah, hey, a mid 53 for a marathon run. Considering I was basically doing this cold, I'll take it. That's pretty good. That is pretty darn good. So.
No, thank you for that. That was really awesome. Chat was into it. I was into it. Everybody's into it.
I
do you have anything?
Hope so.
Yeah.
Well,
do you have anything you want to say?
Say again?
Do you have anything you want to say?
I sure do. Well, first of all, I see plenty of GGs in the chat. Thank you all very much for that. It is greatly appreciated. If you enjoyed this game, if you enjoyed what you were watching, my shtick, any combination of those things and whatnot, please do give me a follow on my channel. I play games like this all the time. These kind of top-down adventure things are kind of my jam, so I would love to see any and all of you there memeing it up with me or just hanging out or even lurking, whatever you would like to do. I do appreciate it. Also, shout-outs to the RPG Valkyries. I always appreciate the opportunity to come on here and run my games and have some fun, and also to help raise money for an extremely worthwhile cause. So yes, that is always cool. Also, shout out to my dog, which is being referenced in chat right now. Her name is Catalina. She is the official mascot of my stream. Makes an appearance pretty much every single time I go live, and she is fantastic. So if you don't like this game, fine. If you don't like me, also fine. But if you like dogs, then especially extremely cute and floofy ones, then that alone is worth giving me a follow. So you'll have to check that out when I do go live. So yeah, I think that pretty much does it for me. Oh, one more shout out I wanted to give, and I know this has been happening all week, but shout outs to our Japanese restream team that has been doing this for their group. Arigato gozaimasu. And yeah, we really appreciate that. That was very cool. So yeah, I think that will do it for me, or will it? I don't know. I'll kick it over to you for now, Newster.
Great, thank you very much. I want to mention that this marathon is benefiting Take This. Take This is a mental health charity, and it's a wonderful organization that primarily aims to serve the gaming community. I play role-playing games. I don't know about you. I was surprised to hear that Dr. B of Take This helped create a D&D campaign titled Gardens of Fog, which acts as an allegory for helping with anxiety and depression. If you're interested, you can pick that up at dmsguild.com. I'll put that in chat, and part of the proceeds will be donated to Take This, which sounds pretty awesome. Up next, we've got some really cool runs, so stick around. The next one is going to be Love to Kuso by Hepan Wana, and then Ultima 6, The False Prophet Randomizer, co-op Moon Orb Location Shuffle with Cloudy Shoe and Squibbins, and after that, Chicory, A Colorful Tale, which I think is going to be amazing. I'll let you know that there are naming incentives for Chicory, and no one's donated to them yet. You can be number one. You can get the name to be pretty much whatever you want it to be right now by donating $1, unless somebody beats you. So please consider doing that. I'll put the donate command in chat. I want to thank Von Ivan for being awesome. That was an amazing run. I love it. I've done this many times. This is the first Speedrun Ragnarok where I have not been the restreamer, if I'm remembering correctly, for Von Ivan. For some reason, we're always together. Probably we're at the same hours, basically, schedule-wise. And it's always a disaster. There's always internet problems, or the RTMP goes down, or anything like that. And I want to give a big shout out to Von Ivan for always powering through troublesome internet problem runs, and finally, when I'm not restreaming, having a run where nothing goes wrong and everything goes amazing. Yes. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Speaking of things going wrong, I'll now that the run is over, I can go ahead and mention this on air. So this, as I mentioned before, this game is played on the TurboGrafx 16, which is an extremely obscure console, especially nowadays. And as such, finding hardware for it is a bit of a challenge. So for that reason, I have gone through multiple controllers for this, because like I said, I speedrun this game and its sequel a lot. So when we were doing warm-up, my controller was going a little haywire, and that's usually an indication that it's just going to stop working properly altogether. So I was like, okay, maybe we have a backup run in case, maybe something I can do for half an hour in case, my TurboGrafx 16 just decides to render itself unplayable. So the fact that we didn't have to do that is a small victory in and of itself, because we got all the way through it and there were no issues there with that. So you go, Knewster. I would imagine, though, that if you were restreaming, that for some reason that would have cosmically caused my
know.
controller
I
to
agree.
not work properly. So.
We are cursed. We are cursed. We were not cursed with internet problems today. We were cursed with puns.
No.
But
Yeah,
that's okay.
Puns. Or blessed, depending on your point of view.
We do need to switch over to the next runner. I believe that they are ready, so we're gonna move out now. I want to thank everybody in chat for being awesome and for all the people who donated, and thank you very much, Bonnie Bun. That was wonderful. You're watching Speedrun Ragnarok 2021. Up next, a really fun run. It's going to be Love 2 Kuso with Hepanwana.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.